Good to go. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the TFR, hashtag TFR Motivation Monday Zoom call. We've got an amazing, even our dog's excited. Hey,
Coco,
go ahead.
enough. All right, so it's Monday again, and so that means it's time for the hashtag TFR Motivation Monday team call. We've got Dondi and Marcy Nettles here with you guys. We love coming to you live every Monday night, bringing you updates and some special guests that have got amazing information to share with you. If you're not able to be on here with us live, that's okay. We totally understand. We'd love you here with us, but we always record these and upload them to the Team Freedom Reigns YouTube channel. So you should go and subscribe so that you're notified when we upload all of the new content each week. So we have got a lot of things to talk about. As of today, they have canceled all of the regional tours that were originally planned by LifeVantage. Darren Jensen came on, and of course, because of the social distancing and what they're asking us to do to help keep everybody safe and healthy, they've decided that we need to just go ahead and cancel those events. So if you have pre-registered, they will be doing those refunds by the end of the week. So you'll be receiving those refunds as well for these events.
But you know what?
What?
They canceled the events.
But they still have the promo going on.
Not only do they still have the promo going on, they doubled the reward for the promo.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Now you have the ability to earn not $250 to be one of the top producers of the week, but $500 to be a top producer in each market. That's a company committed to results and the people. That's what I absolutely love about the heart of our company, is that when the rest of the world is down, the company tries to make a difference and not only be obviously to abide by social norms and things like that, but to make it more worth the while for the people that may be suffering. So congrats, Darren, and the entire C-suite executives and the management team. What a great choice to double the rewards.
So cool. And not only did they do that, but they are bringing to your living room Success Mastery every single Saturday. It's at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. This last week, so if you were on it, you know how freaking amazing it was. It was even over 90 minutes of product education, skills training, calls to action, and success stories by elite distributors and master distributors of LifeVantage. So be watching for your emails. They will be trying to go live on Facebook, but it didn't work this last week. And so only the amount of people that their Zoom room could handle were able to get on. 1,000 people were super fed. So I would also plan on getting on early. I know they're working to get it to where more people will be able to be on, but plan on getting on early to get your spot, because this training was mind-blowing.
Invaluable.
Okay? So
yes. And we've got the global convention, the annual global convention, October 22nd through the 24th of 2020. And we're going to turn Sin City into Win City, because this is happening in Las Vegas, Nevada. You do not want to miss this. Put it on your calendars now. Pre-register. The price is $199 to pre-register, but it's also 199 ways you're committing to your own success, because there will be two types of people after this event: those who went and understood it and have the complete understanding of how amazing our opportunity is at this time, and those who wish they would have gone. There's not going to be anybody in between. So make the commitment now to yourself, to your success, and that of your team. Lead by example. Pre-register now if you haven't already, and mark the dates out, October 22nd through the 24th. In Las Vegas, Nevada.
You know, there's two types of people. One that's going to allow the circumstances of what's going on right now to hinder the growth in their business. And the other is the visionaries that know what's coming and what we have in our hands. The visionaries, you are pre-registered already. The rest of you, we've got to get you pre-registered and committed so that you have something to look forward to, because that's really important as well, is to be looking forward to these amazing events. Plus, there's the Road to Convention.
The Road to Convention.
This promo, it goes right along with what they've been doing for the regionals, and you can actually be double dipping and earning points for both at the same time. It all is based off of the regular things: sharing our products and having people become biohackers, rank advancing, enrolling new distributors and helping them to rank advance, and then maintaining all of the business building activities, the proper things, help you earn points that you'll be able to take advantage of at global convention. So you must get registered to participate.
Absolutely. And the corporate team is really preparing us. And this is something interesting too, because if you look at the timing, of what has gone on in the world, where now pretty much all schools are canceled. Most people are working from home. The company's desire to equip us with online resources was well engaged before this ever happened. So we are now able to capitalize on the reality of this at the proper time with our monthly marketing playbook. In fact, if you go into your account, look up under updates, under the monthly marketing playbook, look at all the amazing things in there, from the blogs that are happening, the podcast episodes that are happening, as well as the shareables, which are meant for our usage in how we share information with people to make it more successful and literally bring it into the technology times that people are looking at and setting us apart from all the other companies in our space.
Yeah, and if you weren't able to watch the Success Mastery training that happened this last Saturday, they've also uploaded that here to the monthly marketing playbook, so you can go and watch it there, as well as on the official LifeVantage distributor page on Facebook. So make sure you go and check that out.
Also, side note, we know many of you were not on the Success Mastery training because you were at a LifeVantage Academy,
which is awesome,
which was normally in your town, went virtual. Wonderful training. We got wonderful feedback on that too. So thank you, Matt Collins, for that reminder.
Yes.
So not asking you to choose, just get fed wherever you go and whatever. It's kind of like a buffet. You don't want to go eat something you don't like. Go eat the things that you like, and there's plenty for you to be fed by. So speaking of which,
system, guys, let's not think that we have to reinvent the wheel now just because the world has changed. You do not need to reinvent the wheel. Step 1, step 2, and step 3 are in place for a reason, to keep you grounded and to keep this information simple. So go to the teamfreedomreigns.com website, and if you have not checked it out yet, please go and just get familiar with it. Become comfortable. There's all kinds of information in there and tools for you to be able to be comfortable in sharing this information, starting with step 1, sharing information on the products. Step 2, sharing information on the business. And then step 3, moving people into connections with the team so that they can learn that they're not going to be alone in building this type of business, because it's all about leverage, right? And that really brings us into what we've got offered on the LifeVantage overview. So LVOs, we're offering 3 virtual ones every single week. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. You can see here, it's a busy slide. Go ahead and screenshot it. But it's always the regular Zoom ID number, 403-830-745. But we will be bringing you these consistently every single week, 3 times a week now, because people have got the time, right? We've got to take advantage of when the people have the time. Leverage that opportunity. And we've been talking a lot about leverage.
Super, super important to have leverage, especially now. And for those of you that were blessed enough to be in Cancun, you heard from this amazing woman, this amazing entrepreneur, visionary leader. She's mother. She has 4 amazing kids and had a vision when she only had 2 amazing kids, and that was to be able to have more, well, at least one more, and she had a bonus one after that, but be able to be home and be a mother the way a mother wants to be a mother. And we don't want to take any of Julie's thunder, but just know that when we asked her to be our guest presenter, she jumped at the opportunity and was very eager to bless all of you guys. So please help us welcome Julie Mai, Elite Pro 8, out of Hawaii, amazing entrepreneur. And Julie, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Aw, thank you so much, you guys. Can you hear me good?
We can hear you great.
Oh, thank you so much for such a sweet intro. And I'm super honored to be on your team call. I know you have an incredible team, and it's just always such an honor to be asked and to be given the opportunity to share my story and hopefully have somewhat of a small impact or a big impact, or just to share the love. Because, honestly, you guys, before I begin, I just want everyone to know that what we're going through is big, right? It's big, and it's hard, and it's scary, and there's a lot of what ifs and a lot of unknowns. And my girls and my kids and I have gotten to a really good habit of starting to pray every night, just not only for our family and our friends on the island, but for our LifeVantage family and for everybody in the world. And I just wanted to start with that because I know, this whole isolation thing, they just implemented on our island. I know it's all over the country, but we're supposed to remain in our homes and not go anywhere. And they put this thing on incoming flights that whoever comes in has to be quarantined for at least 14 days, which is a good thing because 90% of all the new cases of the virus in Hawaii were travel related. So they know, because we're a little bit different on an island, that we hopefully will be able to contain it. So my whole idea of sharing this with you guys is that we might be told to be isolated. We might be told to not touch each other and keep an arm's distance or 6 feet, what it is. But at the same time, like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel more connected than ever to my LifeVantage family, to the human race. I think we're all in this together, right? And so I just wanted to say that if you feel alone, you're not alone, that you're in my prayers, you're in my family's prayers. I know Dondi and Marcy, you're in their prayers, and every leader in this company. We just love you guys so much. And we're just all so grateful for every single part that every person plays within this team, within every team, within the LifeVantage team, within the network marketing team, right? So I wanted to start with that, and before I go into my story. But really, I think what I want to share with you guys is the true, incredible gift that we all have. And I know we talk about this over and over, and Marcy's topic tonight is leverage. And I think I'm a really good person to talk about leverage, because I've been able to enjoy it, see it, have it as a gift in my life firsthand. And for those of you who were in Cancun and heard me share just the few minutes that I did on stage, I talked about my own last year and how hard it was for me. And I was kind of in a dark season. You know, we all go through seasons of life differently. And I kind of shared with that, you know, Jim Rohn says it so well, that we're all given the same seasons. It's pretty rare that we go through them at the same time. And that's kind of crazy that we're going through this season together right now. But for me, this last year, you know, having to deal with some things with my husband, and him having to leave the family and get well and take care of himself, left me in a position of being a single mom. And a single mom in Hawaii is really hard to do because of the cost of living. It's extremely hard. And it also left me in a place that I had to make the choice of being able to be home with my kids, or go out and get more work. But because I said yes to this 7 years ago, which I'm going to go back and share that story. But because I said yes, I was able to be at home with my kids every single minute when their dad was away. I was able to be the mom that they needed in such an uncertain time in their life of what was really going on in our life at that time. And so that was my first realization of, wow, you know, the power of leverage, the power of residual income, to really be able to drink from that well when you need it. You know, you've all heard to dig that well before you're thirsty. And that was something that was really ingrained in me in the beginning of my journey, is if you're given the opportunity to dig a well, if you're given the opportunity to create leverage, it doesn't come around that often in such magnitude of what we have our hands on. So to really run with it. And luckily, I was in a time in my life, a place in my life where I was willing to really take the risk, you know, not really fully understanding the magnitude of what I had my hands on, but I really understood that if I could go and build something now, it would continue to bless my family in the future. And that's really what I want to talk about. So fast forward a few months, my husband came home healthy and better than he's been in a long time. And a month passed and my mom suddenly passed away. And this was just last year, December 9th, she passed away. And I shared a little bit of that from stage, and I'm going to try my best not to get emotional, but it's really hard when someone you love a lot and you're that close to just suddenly and out of the blue. My mom was an extremely healthy person. The day before she passed, she was running and swimming and riding her bike with friends. And so when I got the call, it was just so, as you can imagine, it was just like, I remember that moment of getting that call, and yeah, it just was so surreal. It didn't seem real. And luckily I was able to see her and pray with her and say goodbye to her. But the couple months following that really, really floored me. You know, it was hard to get out of bed in the morning. It was hard to be the good mom that I am. It was hard to really do anything because it just made me question so much. But the one thing that I didn't have to worry about is how I was going to feed my family. I didn't have to worry about how I was going to pay rent. I didn't have to worry about losing my job. Because I was able to dig that well in the beginning of my journey with this company, I was able to really soak in my faith and connect with God again, and connect with, you know, the bigger purpose of why we're all here. And I know that sometimes that's really hard to do when you're in a position, when you're put in a position of, you feel like you've lost everything, or you feel like you're completely empty and you don't know what to do. And I think I think a lot of us might feel that right now, you know, and I feel like a lot of people on the planet are feeling that right now, that they're lost and they're scared and they don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. You know, I'm on a little island and 90% of our economy is tourism based. So you can imagine when the governor said we don't want any more tourists coming into our state. I have hundreds of friends and family that have lost their jobs, that have, you know, are trying to get unemployment, but because there's such a huge amount of people trying to get unemployment, it's unsure, you know, so it's a scary time for a lot of people. And I know I'm kind of all over the place, but I just hope you can feel where I'm coming from when I say that it's hard for me not to call up all my friends, all people and say, oh my gosh, I told you so. This is the best opportunity on the planet. Let's do it now, right? Like I know a lot of us feel that way, especially with our products, knowing what they do. We just want to tell everybody about it right now. We want to tell everyone about the opportunity because we do feel like we have a solution. We know in our heart we have a solution. But what I'm doing for people right now is I'm more selling the love that I have for them versus selling a product or an opportunity, because I know and I believe that if I love on them right now and if I hear them and if I really appreciate where they are without them feeling like I'm trying to shove something down their throat, then that ROI is going to be substantial. You know, the return on investment for me loving on people is going to come back tenfold, and they're going to feel that because I see a lot of people trying to, you know, capitalize on this tragedy, on this crisis. And I just want to share with you guys that I think if we can come at it from a place of sell the love that you have in your heart versus the products and the opportunity, that those are going to come back to you, right? They're going to start asking questions because they're going to feel how much you truly care about them. And if you're making a residual income, and if you're feeling not such a huge impact by this crisis, like some of the leaders in this company, myself included, more so just, again, share the love that you want for them, for their family, versus, well, I don't have to worry because I have this much money or whatnot, because you got to be really careful about how you word things with people right now because it's a very sensitive time. So we'll get more into that at the end, but let's go back 7 years. Let's go back to my story. Let's go back to how I got started with LifeVantage, what my life looked like. Because I think what I can give you, what I can offer you is, don't be afraid of who you share this with, you guys. Don't be afraid of, you know, your best friend that might be too busy, or the girl you barely know, or the gentleman that's a doctor that works full time, or the mom who's at home with her kids. I mean, really, what's so beautiful about what we have is it truly is for anybody that's looking for something different, right? It's anybody who wants a little bit more in their life, or who's sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that's kind of where I was 7 years ago. Is I was working full-time in my home-based business. Many of you know me know that I create jewelry. And so My Love Designs was taking off about 7 years ago or so. And I was really busy making jewelry. I was working in between 6 and 8 hours a day. And then my husband was a worked full-time masonry, and he would come home and we would kind of high five each other, and I would go to work at night as a waitress, and I was working 4 to 5 nights as a waitress as well. So while raising my 6-year-old daughter Hanavai and my 3-year-old daughter Maluhia. So there was a major juggle going on. My husband and I were 2 shifts in the night, really. I mean, we never saw each other. He woke up at 6 in the morning to go to work. He got home, and again, we would say hi bye, and I would go to work, come home, and he'd be sleeping already. So it really hit me. I remember one day I was making jewelry, and I had to go to work that night, and a friend of mine called me and she said, we're going to go surfing. Do you guys want to come? And I was like, I had deadlines. I couldn't go, but I said, can you take my girls? And they were just barely learning how to surf. And she said, of course. And I remember just sitting there thinking, wow, someone else is going to teach my kids how to surf because I'm too busy to do it. And my husband and I met surfing, and surfing is a huge part of our life. And that just broke my heart. I get emotional thinking about it because that is who I am. It's who my husband is. But because we were so busy trying to figure out this parenting thing and trying to just stay one step ahead, you know, and still only living paycheck to paycheck, it just hit me that if I didn't do something to change that, my girls were going to grow up and really other people were going to be raising them and teaching them how to do the things that I wanted to teach them how to do, right? We have children so that we get to spend the time with them. We get to teach them our values and our beliefs. And we really, that's important to us, I think, as parents. And I realized in that moment that if I didn't do something different, that it was going to go by fast. My girls were going to be older. They weren't going to want to spend any time with me anymore once they got to be teenagers. And that was something that I wasn't willing to give up. And so when I was invited to a meeting, an in-home meeting, many of you know my enroller, Pro 8 Daisy Goodwin. At the time, we weren't super good friends, acquaintances. I knew who she was. She knew who I was. She will tell the story of how she invited me, and it was kind of a last-minute invite. She's like, God, Julie works, full-time. She has a pretty thriving, successful business. At least she thought so. People are really good at putting on a persona of what their life looks like on the outside, when on the inside, many people I think are screaming for something different. And that was pretty much me. Is a lot of people knew me as a very successful jewelry designer with many accounts that did really well and seemed really, but on the inside I was crying, and I was looking for something different because I wanted to spend more time with my kids. So she invited me to the meeting. I was very intrigued by the products. I didn't know much about the science. I didn't know much about oxidative stress. And, at first I thought, stress, yeah, I'm stressed. Okay, I need that, whatever that is. And there was a very little tiny blurb that she did on the business. And even she was a little bit fearful of sharing the business in the unknown. In the beginning, you're just kind of unsure of how you're sharing this. But I just want you to know this. For me, the products were something that I was intrigued by, but the little 5 minutes that she shared of the business, and when she said you could build a residual income that would create leverage in your life, that little sentence, it took my mind to that place that I was a couple weeks earlier, where I realized I wanted something different, right? And so I just want you to remember that when you're afraid to share the business, you don't have to share half an hour of the business, but when you're sharing this opportunity or the products with people, just don't forget that people are looking for different things, right? And so just remember that, kind of give them the whole picture, not just a little piece because of the fear that you may have that they may not want to hear. Like, just remember, you never truly know what other people need or want in their life. So just take that little advice from me. So long story short, I kind of called her the next day and I said, I'm interested. I want to try the product, but tell me more about this business. And it literally was her first meeting. So she didn't know a lot. And she just said, this is what I know. It's network marketing. I'm like, okay, what's that? I was one of those ones that didn't know much about network marketing. And because I was inspired by the idea of creating a wheel of leverage, I started to do my own research, and I started to read into network marketing. I just really started to educate myself about what network marketing was, the good, the bad, the ugly, the amazingness. I just wanted to know everything about it so that if I did stand behind this, I could be educated and I could tell people from my heart what was inspired to me. Jim Rohn, if you haven't heard of him, most of you I'm sure have. He was a huge mentor of mine in the beginning. I just got so sucked into Jim Rohn and his philosophy of, becoming better yourself. I think one of my favorite things that he says is, your income will never exceed your personal development. And I remember being a waitress and a jewelry designer, I didn't really know much about personal development. I just thought, I read a couple books about being a good mom and whatnot. And of course, going to church and my faith really helped, but I just never really understood the philosophy of working on myself will help me create not only more success in my life, but how many people I can help and how much I can share with the wisdom that I learned. So I dove right into that, and I got really excited about the possibility of creating leverage in my life and helping other people create leverage in their life, because I knew I wasn't alone. I knew friends and family just in my surroundings were also looking for something different. And so that was kind of the beginning for me, is just really becoming inspired. And I think once I started taking the products and I started to feel a little bit better, and being young and healthy, I didn't feel it right away. And back then there was only Pro Tandem and True Science. We only had 2 products back then. So, I really got into the science a little bit and got a little nerdy, and luckily got Rusty Cottrell, who's a Pro 6, who a lot of you might know. He is a physical therapist, father of 8 beautiful children, but he got so nerdy with the science that helped me really learn more about the science and how incredible Pro Tandem was. And when I gave it to my mom at the time, 7 years ago, who was struggling with depression, she was really having a hard time in her life just struggling with life, really, and her health was deteriorating. And I just watched her. She was kind of my, not guinea pig, but she was someone close enough to me that if I said, if this is going to have a difference on her life, I'm going to go all in with this, because I know the impact it can have on other people's lives. And I watched her in a period of about 3 to 6 months, I would say, of taking the product every day and being on it, completely change into a different person, you guys. It was miraculous to see the difference it made in her life, from not only a health standpoint, but from a mental standpoint. And that's when I knew, because she had tried everything. She hated antidepressants and meds in that area, but she did try everything natural. And this just made such a huge impact in her life. And now, knowing what I know now that she's passed, and that she did have heart disease and didn't know it, I truly believe that Protandim extended her life for a good 5 to 7 years. I really believe that. Not only extended her life, but gave her life back. The last 5 to 7 years of her life were the best that I remember. Growing up with her, she struggled a lot. And so it was just so beautiful to see that. And that's when I got really excited about, sharing the whole picture with people, and really not having any judgment with anybody, and really sharing, from my heart. What got me excited is I hit, I kind of rank advance. My goal was to rank advance every month, because I knew that I didn't want to draw this out. I didn't want this to go on forever. I wanted to raise my kids. I wanted to be home with them, but I knew that to do this the right way, I would have to listen to my mentors, and I would have to go fly every month. We had premier schools back then, and I had to fly every single month to another island, which wasn't cheap. I didn't, and as you know, you don't make a lot of money in the beginning. So there was a lot of faith and there was a lot of trust, but I knew that if I did my part, and I knew that if I followed the leader, and that if I did what they did, eventually I would have what they had. And I firmly believed that. And I did firmly believe in people. And I knew that there were other people that wanted what I wanted. And so I did. I went to premier school every month. I went to the elite academies on the mainland every single 3 months. Back then we had them every 3 months, right? And I learned, and I just soaked it all in. And it wasn't just the excitement of becoming successful. It was the excitement of becoming a better person. It was the excitement of being able to create something in my life that I could share with people that would have an impact on their life. And I hit Pro 5 in 5 months, and then I took a little bit of time to get to Pro 6. And I kind of had some I had to do some look at myself. I had to step back and be like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Of course, we all go through that in our business, whether it's Pro 1, Pro 2, all the way up to Pro 10, right? We all have our own growth that we have to go through. And when I hit Pro 6, I had to take a step back and really look into my business and say, okay, why am I not growing fast enough? I wanted to hit Pro 7 in that 7th month, but as we know, that's a lot of volume to make in a month. So I said, what am I doing? What can I do better for my team? What can I do better for myself? How can I grow this business better? And that's when I started to go into my back office, and I started to look at my Pro 2s and my Pro 3s. And I reached down into my organization, and I started helping people more so than helping myself. And I think when you get to a leader standpoint, which I believe is you're a leader at Pro 1, but when you get a little bit of a team going, if you make it all about them, I promise you're going to grow your business. And that's really what I did, is I just reached down and I started helping people. And I said, where can I go? Where can I travel to that there's a little fire that people need me? And that's what I did. And in 18 months, I hit Pro 7. And that was a huge deal for my family, because I worked really hard to get there. And my kids, I remember they said to me one day, they said, I thought your goal with this business was to spend more time with us, and yet you're never home. I was like, oh no. So that was in Pro 6. And I was like, you're right. So we would make vision boards, and we put on our vision board, when mom hits Pro 7, we're going to Disneyland. And when I hit Pro 7, you got to bet your behinds that I bought us all tickets to Disneyland, and we all got to go and celebrate. And then I made the decision to take a little time to enjoy that victory. And really, like Marcy and Dondi said, that my goal with the business part of this was really to have more kids. We wanted one more baby. That was our goal. And so I got pregnant with Taj. I think it was 7 or 8 months into Pro 7, I got pregnant with Taj. And I worked hard though through that pregnancy, but then when he was born, I was able to step outside that wheel, you guys, and be with my baby and be with my kids. And I'd jump on a call here and there. I'd do a 3-way, and it wasn't that I disconnected completely, but that I really truly got to experience that leveraged wheel. And that's really what I want to get through to you is, if you're struggling in your business, or if you're unsure if this is going to work for you, I promise if you work it, it's going to work, right? And I know you've all heard it. This is network marketing, not net wish marketing. So you do have to get out there and you do have to work it. But it's like, I tell my team, it's like, and I'm sure you've heard this analogy before, it's pushing the boulder up the hill, right? And in the beginning, that boulder is heavy, and you get one more friend and you get one more teammate, and you're pushing it up that hill together, and it gets to the top of the hill. And when it gets to the top of the hill, it starts to roll over the other side, and there's no stopping it. And that's also the same with the wheel, where you get in it and you're rolling that wheel and people get in it with you. And when you need to step out for life, whatever that may look like, this is a really good example of where we're in right now, as life is happening to everybody. And when you have to step out and that wheel keeps going, I can't explain what a gift that is. It's just beyond incredible what we have our hands on. So that is something, I want you to share with people in a loving way of just, when they're ready to, having those first few conversations with people right now, love on them and hear them, and maybe don't throw the opportunity or the products that first conversation. Maybe just say, hey, I'm going to check in with you in a few days, or I'm going to talk to you next week, and just keep that line of communication open, right? I guess really one thing that really hits me is stop trying to sell and really start to connect, because when you sell, that's a transaction, and when you connect, that's a relationship. So really trying to build those relationships right now with people is my biggest goal. Not only with people that aren't on my team, but with my team, right? So my goal with the 4 kids, I'm starting homeschool with them today because it's kind of, unsure when they're going back to school, but I don't have a ton of time. But my goal is to connect with one person outside of my business and one person in my business, because we know we're all feeling unsure. We're all feeling a little uneasy right now. So even if you have leaders in your business that you might think are good and dandy, like, it doesn't hurt to check in with them and just love on them. And from the pro 1s to the pro 7s, right? To anyone in your business, just check in on them and love on them. I think is a really good habit to create in your business is loving on your people. So another thing that I wanted to share with you guys, I guess, for me, that's kind of my story in a nutshell. And then I guess I'll add in my last baby. So Taj was born. We had Taj. I was able to step outside the business, and maybe it's because when you have more time and you're not working all the time, you have more time with your husband as well, and life is good and everything's good, and we got pregnant again. And so that was kind of a surprise for us. We thought 3 was our number, but she wanted to make her way in, and she sure did. And she is a force to be reckoned with, and was such a blessing in our life. And again, having a 3-year-old and Taj was 2 when Tehani was born. So as you can imagine, and then 2 preteen girls. So that's real fun. So life has been full, but again, I wasn't told by a boss or anybody that I needed to come back to work. Okay, you had 1 baby, you don't get to have another one, you need to come back. No, it wasn't like that. I got to have another baby, and I got to, do my business on my own time. And how incredible of a story now that I get to share with people, that I had a vision and I had a dream, and my dream was to build this business so that I could be the mom that I wanted to be, so that I could grow the business that I wanted to grow, to help other people, and as well as not have to, I guess, just really not have to answer to the man, right? I don't have to call for a day off. I get to go to all my girls' games. I get to go to all the surf competitions. I get to be there at my son's preschool. I get to volunteer whenever I want. And it's just such a beautiful thing. I'm not going to say it was easy. Those 3 years I worked hard. Okay. So I don't want you to think that it was all butterflies and roses. Like, you have to work this. And it was hard. And I had to sacrifice my dream to get the dream. Okay, so you have to know that too. You're going to have to sacrifice a little bit. There'll be non-negotiables, and that's okay. There's some things that you won't sacrifice, and that's important, that you don't sacrifice everything. And you get to do this on your own terms. But just know that when you are building this business, it can go as fast as you want, as slow as you want. For me, I wanted to build it fast so that I could get to my kids as fast as possible. And now my girls don't really know anything else. They don't really remember too well those 3 years. Now they just know mom's always home. I don't know if that's always a good thing for them, but they do really appreciate that mom and dad are happy that we've gone through some hard times. But, you know, I shared a little bit on stage that I was Hanabai's hero. She's in 8th grade, and she had to write an essay about, you know, what's a hero in your life. And all the other kids wrote about, you know, firefighters and police officers and lifeguards who are incredible heroes in all of our lives, you know, for good reason. But Hanabai's teacher called me and she said, you know, Julie, I haven't read anything like this before, and I have to share this with you. And she shared Hanabai's essay, and it was about how her mom was her hero and all the different reasons why. And that right there just made everything worthwhile. You know, if we can be the hero in our kids' lives, if we can be the hero in anyone's life, then it's all worth it. So I hope, you know, what I shared has an impact on you guys. I just really, you know, one thing that we can do with all this spare time is kind of dive into a little personal development, whatever that may look like for you. Take a little time every day to work on yourself. Tony Robbins or John Maxwell or, you know, the LifeVantage Academy or all the tools that we have. Just take a little time every day to do a little bit of personal development. Will go a far, far way. So I guess I can wrap it up there. If you want to ask me some questions, feel free.
Oh my gosh. I'm not so sure that we need to ask you questions. That was so absolutely
Our cups
beautiful.
are overflowing for sure.
Yes, and I think you covered what the concept of leverage is so well. It's not just to go and build something so you can work and work and work and work. It's so that you can build something so that if something happens, you don't have to go to work, or you don't have to rely on a boss to provide for you, because you've taken advantage, first of all, leveraging the opportunity, the company, but leveraging a team of people that are here to support you and love on you and lift you up and help you. You don't even have to know how to do this thing. You just leverage the team, right?
Yep.
And then just leveraging the ability that we have to be part of a company that is so proactive that even in this situation right now, we can be so fully confident that everything has already been thought of.
Yeah.
That we just need to keep doing the action. So I don't know that, I don't think we need to ask any questions. What's your thoughts?
You just reminded me of something very powerful for me. And I don't share this story very often because it's very difficult for me to do so. But next month on the 10th will be the 11 years that my father passed away. And 3 days before he passed, he brought my brother and I into his room. And he was at the place that he made us promise that we would never find ourselves in his position at the end of, as when he got diagnosed with esophageal cancer, 13 months later, we were at his funeral. But he said his story changed. He says, when I beat this thing, we're going to go on a family vacation. We're going to go do all the things I couldn't do for you boys when I was, you know, when you guys were young. And he kept saying that. And then eventually that story changed. And he says, I'm not going to beat this thing. So you have to promise me that you'll never be in my situation looking at my life with regret that I wasn't the father you needed me to be. And at the time he asked us to make him that promise, which I did, obviously. 3 days later, he passed away, and I was already breaking the promise I made to my father. I didn't have a way out. And LifeVantage gave me the ability to, within a year of implementing it into my life, selling my practice, canceling my radio show, and keeping the promise to my father. And to hear you tell the story about your daughter making you the hero. My father was my hero, but I want to be the hero to my kids that my father was never to me, only in a dream, that I wished he would have been there. He was a great provider, but we didn't have hardly any time. And I love to see what it could be like with your story. So thank you for sharing that and making it personal, because this is a relationship business, but the more personal we can make it, the more we can bless people. So Julie, just thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being so vulnerable and transparent and sharing that story. And please thank your husband and your kids for giving the time away from them to be with us, to bless us with your time. We definitely value it, and thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Absolutely. It's such a good point. I same for me, you know, with my mom. She was, you know, I think back in those days too, that was all they knew is work and provide. And I didn't have, the time with my mom, and I didn't have the best stepdad either. He was pretty abusive towards me and my mother, but I always longed for that as an only child, and that was one of the things I think I always wanted more, a big family so that I could give them all of me, because again, we feel like even though we love our parents, we just want to do better than them. I think that's the goal of having children. And so I feel your heart, Dondi. I'm really sorry for your loss as well. And I know you're doing an incredible job, both of you guys as parents. So I love you guys, and I'm so grateful that you asked me to be on the call. And yeah, thank you.
You're such a blessing. You bless the team, and they're all saying thank you, thank you, thank you so much. So Julie, thank you. Please thank your husband and your amazing kiddos. Give them hugs for us. But God bless you guys. Praying for everybody.
God bless everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.